Hi guys, we are live. Thank you for joining me today. Happy Wednesday. If you're in the US, it's a short week, which I always love because it's already hump day and we are gonna cruise into the next weekend. Okay, if you are here live, you can leave a comment at any time and I will happily answer your question on the spot. Today, I am going to be talking about how you know you're ready to do the FODMAP reintroduction phase. And I have 5 signs that show that you're ready that I came up with. So let's get started. I'm going to introduce myself real quick. If you're new around here, I'm Julie from calmbellykitchen.com. I am a FODMAP coach and recipe developer, and I share low FODMAP recipes and information and tips and inspiration so that you can actually do the low FODMAP diet and still actually eat good food and not put your life on hold to figure out your FODMAP IBS situation. Okay, so let's get into this content, and I have some notes right here. So as I'm looking down, that is what I will be doing. This is not all up in my head because I've got to say, being on camera and talking and thinking and looking for comments is a lot going on at once. Okay, so I am going to be looking at my notes. All right, so we're going to go over 5 signs that you know you're ready to do the FODMAP reintroduction phase. Now, if you're brand new to the diet, the FODMAP diet has 2 phases, right? It's the elimination and the reintroduction. And with elimination, the goal is to get FODMAPs out of your diet and see if your symptoms improve. And that shows that FODMAPs were, in fact, the cause of your digestive issues, of your sensitivities. So that's the goal there. Then the reintroduction is where you actually learn the good stuff. The reintro is like the juicy bits of the FODMAP diet. That's weird imagery. Okay, anyway, so this is how you learn what really triggers your symptoms and how you can eat going forward to manage those symptoms kind of like for the rest of your life, so you can get more variety, more flexibility, and kind of feel like a normal food-loving person again. All right, so here is the first sign that you know you're ready to do reintroduction. All right, so the first one is your belly feels good, but you are not happy. So why would this be? Why would you be unhappy if you've got your belly feeling good, your symptoms under control? Well, maybe it's because you've been doing the elimination phase for 8 months or 18 months or 3 years. And I see this all the time in people I talk to, people in my Facebook group, and I honestly don't know the exact amount of time I was in the elimination and even some on and off elimination, just trying to work myself up to the reintroduction phase. I'm not sure how long it was. It was 6 to 8 months, maybe around there. So I wasn't happy, and if you're feeling good and you're still not happy, it's time to move into the next step and reintroduce FODMAPs. And why aren't you happy? Because you're so restricted. You can't live like that for the rest of your life. It makes it awfully hard to go to a restaurant or go on vacation and actually enjoy yourself, or go to a friend's house and eat food without giving them like a 3-page list of all your restrictions. So that is the first sign that your belly feels good, your symptoms feel good, but you're not happy because you are feeling deprived. And you're not meant to feel like that forever. Okay, sign number 2 that you're ready to do the reintroduction process. You are tired of spending a fortune on low FODMAP food. Okay, I'm someone who prioritizes good food, and I do budget a good amount of money to spend on food, but it kills me when I want the gluten-free crackers it's like a 6-ounce box and it costs like $7, whereas the 8-ounce box of regular crackers costs like $3. It's ridiculous, it stinks, but that is the way it is. And actually, I could explain there's actually some economical reasoning behind that, but we won't, that's a whole other topic. But it stinks, and it stinks for us because it's like we didn't do anything to cause our dietary restrictions and conditions, but it's really expensive to be on a restricted diet, and especially when you're really sick of paying a lot for all this special food and you kind of wonder, is this really necessary? Do I really need to order the special chicken broth online? Do I really need these special expensive protein bars? Because, you know, maybe you can eat a little bit of lactose in your diet. Maybe you don't need to spend a fortune on all these special foods, and you kind of want to see if you can figure that stuff out by doing the reintroduction. Okay, That was sign number 2. You're tired of spending a fortune on low FODMAP food to eliminate every FODMAP. Sign number 3 is that you go to a restaurant because, you know, you can't lock yourself in your house forever. You go to a restaurant with a kind of cool, creative menu and you spend $20, $24, $28 on a plain grilled chicken salad. That's a little sad. And you know, you don't want to flare up your symptoms. It's not that you did a bad thing, but you're sick of going out and not being able to enjoy anything, of worrying about every little bite that you take. And that's when you know that it's time to reintroduce FODMAPs to try to get more flexibility in there, because that's what will happen. You will learn the specific FODMAPs that trigger your symptoms, and you'll learn the varying sensitivities that you have. You'll learn the portion sizes. Like, I know that garlic is a really bad trigger for me, but I also don't worry about the chicken broth that I eat. If there's a skosh of garlic seasoning somewhere in my food, it's not going to cause a huge upset. But I'm not gonna go eat a dish that's got a lot of chopped up garlic in it, you know? So you'll learn the specific sensitivities and those varying degrees. Okay, that is sign number 3. You're going to restaurants and eating plain grilled chicken salad. Okay, sign number 4 that you're ready for the reintroduction process. And everyone who's here live, thank you so much. And like, say hi in the chat, because I'll see your comments like in real time, and I'll happily answer any questions you have about this topic or about kind of related FODMAP stuff. So say hi and leave a comment. Okay, so sign number 4 that you are ready for reintroduction is that you have just booked a vacation. Maybe it's a few months out, maybe it's right around the corner, but you feel like you have 2 options. One is to be, hi Marty! No, you're not late, you're fine, you can always watch the replay. So this is the sign. You've booked a vacation and you feel like you only have 2 choices. You are stuck between totally being strict and kind of taking food out of the equation and not indulging and enjoying food on your vacation, or your alternative is to just eat all the things, just throw it all out the window, and risk getting diarrhea at a wine tasting. You know, it could happen, right? So you feel like those are your 2 options, but if you do the reintroduction, you have a 3rd option, and that is to learn where you have some wiggle room, what you specifically should avoid. Like, for me, mannitol, that's a big one for me. The garlic, unless it's just those little tiny bits at the end of the ingredient list. But you learn the big things you need to avoid, and you learn the things that aren't really a big deal. Like, I can go and I can eat wheat. I talk about how much I love croissants all the time. I got to go to France and eat croissants, and that was awesome. And I wouldn't have felt unstressed about doing that if I hadn't done the reintroduction. Hi Rhonda, thank you for joining. Hi Christy. Oh, thank you for saying that is awesome information. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who's here live. That's fantastic. I see there's quite a few of you, so feel free to leave a comment or ask a question. Okay, so we're going over the signs that you know you're ready to do reintroduction, and if you miss some of it, the replay will be right there on the group page as soon as it's done, and kind of, you know, it does a little loading, but pretty much right after it's done, and you can catch the beginning. Okay, so the 5th sign, the last one, is that you really miss your favorite high FODMAP food. Okay, so I've talked about, actually it was in the last video, I talked about how I love fresh figs, and I think that's literally my favorite food in the whole world, and it killed me that I would see them at the store, and they're only in season like a couple months out of the year, and I'd see them at the store and I wouldn't buy them, and I was like, what are you doing, woman? This is ridiculous. So when you get to the point where you're like, I really miss ice cream, or I really miss asparagus, I don't know if that's your favorite food in life, but you owe it to yourself to actually find out if you and your favorite food or some of those high FODMAP foods that you really love can kind of come to a happy agreement and kiss and make up. Because even though I am moderately sensitive to fructose, and that's where fresh figs fall in the FODMAP categories, I figured out that, you know, with that moderate sensitivity, I can easily eat 2 figs, which is plenty for me, honestly, and have no symptoms. I feel fine. And I needed to do the reintroduction to get this info and sort it all out. And I'm so glad that I did. Hi Marge, thank you so much for joining. Thanks for everyone who's here live again. Okay, so I'm going over my notes. I have notes for this whole little presentation. So those are the 5 signs that you know you're ready. It's kind of like when you're at the end of your rope. And I know those were a little bit specific. I seem to know a lot about it because those are the 5 signs that I kind of experienced, and that's what pushed me to actually do it. And I was so afraid to do reintroduction because I thought I'd have to cancel all my travel, and I would look at my calendar and be like, okay, so I need to find like a 2-month period in my life where I'm not going on any trips. And I'm like, well, that's not happening, because especially at that point in my life, and even still now, we were kind of traveling somewhere at least once a month. And I'm like, well, that stinks. I don't know, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna follow all these set rules? Because when I looked for information on how to do the reintroduction phase, it seemed like everything was very regimented, and you have to do it this way, and on this day you do this, and then you skip a day and you do this. And I kind of had the sense that you have to do it all at once, and like nonstop, like you are in a tunnel with horse blinders on. And eventually I was so bogged down. I felt so defeated by all these rules. It was like, I kind of even did elimination phase limbo, where I was on it and then I was off it and then I was on it again because, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the reintroduction, let me get back on. And then I just couldn't take the plunge. And so I finally got to a point where I felt like, okay, it's better if I do this imperfectly than not doing it at all, because I can't stay in this limbo forever. And so I kind of cobbled together my own sort of plan, and it was all about flexibility. And I was like, okay, let me just do the best I can. So I didn't cancel any trips. I still did my travel, and if I needed to stop testing FODMAPs for 4 days or a week while I went on vacation or something, then I did. I just stopped. And when I got home, I started up again. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no like long tested data that tells you exactly how the best perfect way to do this. I mean, there are certainly recommendations, but we all have to sort it out for ourselves. And guys, doing it imperfectly is so much better than never doing it. Yep, I'm glad it's helpful, Marty. Yeah, it's like flexibility is a word I say a lot, and I try to think of another way to say it, but that's really what it's all about. That's really how I designed my reintro coaching package. It's based around flexibility, and what I do with clients is I meet with you and I make it all customized for you. So I give you a roadmap on how to reintroduce FODMAPs, so you know what to do when and what to eat when. But then we work with it, okay? And if you're like, okay, I'm going to, I have a work overnight trip or whatever, we modify it. And it's all about you and your lifestyle. And if it doesn't fit your lifestyle, it's never gonna work for you, and you're never gonna actually get it done. And then there's all the guilt and there's all the deprivation, and you're kind of right back to where you started. So that's how I built my coaching package. It was based on what I learned when I did it myself and what I've done for clients since the beginning of the year, and kind of refining it. And it's all about customization. It's all about making it work for your life. So you don't have to cancel your travel. You can still go out to dinner with friends. You can still go to restaurants. And you have options. You can kind of just hold off on your testing while while you're on vacation, or you can keep going. It's really about what works for you and about how your symptoms manifest. So if you have really severe reactions, yeah, we don't want you having like diarrhea while you're at a wine tasting. So we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen. Oh, I got a message from Facebook that my connection is weak. I really hope it's not. So yeah, somebody leave a comment, let me know if my video is cutting out. I was on a Facebook video this morning that was cutting out really, really badly, and I don't know if it was them or if it was me. But anyways, I will kind of wrap it up and get to the point. But what I just want to tell everyone is that doing the reintroduction is so worth it. I just see so many people saying that they've been on elimination for literally years, and so many people are afraid to eat, and I completely get it. I was there. I was like clinging to like the elimination for a long time, and then I was so upset because I thought the reintroduction would be so hard. And putting together the coaching program and working with other people has just proven to me and shown me And I mean, I knew it for myself that you can do this your way and you can make this fit around your life. And when you do, you can get back to being a normal person who eats food again and who enjoys it. Okay, so I guess my video is cutting out a little bit. Thanks a lot, Facebook. It was bad this morning, and I would think that would be a kind of a slow downtime. Okay, so we talked about the 5 signs that you know you're ready to reintroduce FODMAPs. Does anyone have any questions about like if you should do it or when you should do it? Another question that I get asked a lot actually is, do you need to be in the elimination phase for a long time, and like for a month or 2 months or whatever it is, and then start reintroduction? And you actually don't. It's just important that you've done the elimination process, so you've confirmed that you are in fact sensitive to FODMAPs. So that's what's important. But if you've been sort of on and off and it's been years of this, good, it's better now. Okay, good. So yeah, if you've been on and off for years, to start reintroduction, you don't have to go back to the beginning. You don't have to go do it for some arbitrary amount of time, like 2 months. All you have to do is get back into kind of elimination mode, get back to where your symptoms are consistently controlled. And I tell people for about a week, you know, do elimination, get back to it for about a week, make sure your symptoms are nice and under controlled, and you know, they don't have to be completely gone because some people never really get even to that stage, but you get them under control and then you can start reintroducing. That's all you need to do. It's not some big buildup either. You just have to kind of go for it. And if you need to pause, that's okay too, but you can do it customized to your life. And you guys just please do it, because it helps so much. It helps so much to know and not guess. And if you want help doing it, if you want to save time of all the Google searches and hours on the internet trying to figure this stuff out, I can work with you one-on-one. That is what my reintroduction road trip package is for. And I do a roadmap that is customized to you, and it's all about fitting it around your life. And then even after we do the reintroduction process, we talk about how you can kind of keep doing experiments that are important to you. Like I figured out my thing with figs, and you can figure out how to go forward and develop an eating style that is going to work for the rest of your life to keep you feeling good, but to let you enjoy the food you want to enjoy, and you know, do the things you want to do and travel and go out. Okay, I think I have questions. Great info. I thought messing up reintroduction would set me back at least a month. No, I think I know what you're asking, Karen. Yeah, if you're like, let's say you're doing your reintroduction and then you go visit family and you have a crazy meal with FODMAPs and you get symptoms and you get flared up for a few days, that's okay. Just let it pass. Let all those symptoms pass, and then you can start again. That's all you have to do. It's not like you're cleansing yourself. That's not how it works. The elimination is really just to prove that FODMAPs caused your problems. So yeah, it's really okay. And so there is more room to wiggle around. And Marge, do you need to reintroduce things that you don't like or that you know are giving you symptoms? I think you should reintroduce everything unless you know that it's a trigger. So if for example, like if you've had a breath test for fructose or lactose and you know that those are triggers for you, you don't have to test them again because you've already had, you know, a test that kind of proves it. If you feel confident about the results, you don't have to test it. As for foods you don't like, you need to test all the FODMAP groups unless you've had a breath test. So if for fructose, like it's either honey or mango, and if you absolutely hate both honey and mango, there might be another food you can test. Like you could, I would check for you and try to find something you like. But it's really important to test it, because then that knowledge applies to everything, applies to how you react to fructose, and there are so many other foods that fall into that category, even though they also share other FODMAPs. So that's kind of a longer answer. I could go on and on. Like you want to test a food that only contains one FODMAP, and that's why there are limitations there. But it is important to test it. But you don't have to test every high FODMAP food. Like, okay, you're testing fructans and you hate asparagus. You don't have to test that. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. If you have a follow-up to that answer, go ahead and ask. So yeah, are there any other questions? Those are really good. I know it's like an endless like confusing maze, the whole reintroduction, it really is. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, I will hang out for another couple minutes. You can put them in the chat. But yeah, I was kind of like, I was really annoyed with myself that it took me so long to actually do the reintroduction, and figuring it all out and learning how I could make it work for me and for other people who I knew needed the same help, like people who are not doing it because they just couldn't follow that rigid diet for months and months and thought that it just wasn't doable and they would just be better off in elimination. It's totally not true, and that's why I created my coaching program. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, I guess I answered your question. Good. All right, thank you so much for everyone who came live, and sorry the video was weird. I think it was a Facebook thing, not a me thing. At least I hope not. I live in Chicago, I should have good internet. but thank you so much for coming live and leaving your comments. You can always catch the replay. It'll be up there within like a couple of minutes. But yeah, and if you do think of a question, leave it in the comments under this video and I will see it and I'll come back and answer you for sure. All right, and oh, I also have a reintroduction checklist. If you haven't gotten it, if you're not on my newsletter, definitely go to my website, calmbellykitchen.com. I'll put a link of exactly where to go to sign up and get my reintroduction checklist. And that kind of just gives you a lot of the tips and guidelines that I use with my clients, and it'll give you a really good starting point with some like concrete, you know, like do's and don'ts for how to reintroduce FODMAPs. So that's a free checklist that you can download from my website. Okay, another question. Marty, do you reintroduce a food more than once? It kind of depends. Like if you've done it, maybe you did it a few months ago and now you're not sure what the results were. If that's the scenario, I would say yes, you can. Like if you got a weird result, like let's say you had a moderate serving and you had a kind of a bad reaction, you got like terrible pain, but then you had a larger serving and you felt fine. So you're like, you don't really know what's going on. I would test it again, because there are always, you know, our bodies are these like crazy ecosystems and there's a million things going on. So sometimes you can get mixed results and you just sort of have to assess what that looks like, if there's something else going on in your life with stress or so many things, but you can test them again. Test to reintroduce a food more than once. Or do you mean like having different serving sizes? I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but if you want to clarify it in the comments again, I'll come back and answer after the video. But yeah, it's okay to test it more than once, especially if you aren't really sure of the results, because yeah, it's not an exact science. It's like our bodies and food, it's a mystery. It took them this long to come up with FODMAPs, so there you go. All right, any more questions, guys? All right, I'm gonna go make some pumpkin pasta. This is like a meal that I make all the time, and I don't think I've ever, like, I'm gonna try to do a Snapchat video and then I'll like upload that to Facebook. So we'll see how that turns out, hopefully okay. And this is kind of an ugly recipe, so bear with me on that. But it's delicious. It's like one of my favorite things. And I know pumpkin is not a summer thing, but I love it. Yeah, go ahead and like clarify when you can just type it out and I will totally come back and answer. All right, thanks for everyone who came live. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a fantastic night, and leave any more questions under this video. All right, bye.